Hello everyone, and welcome to... This looks a bit blue. Maybe it's just the way I'm seeing it on the camera. So I had a bit of time this week. I had a bit more time, so I can't remember what I'd done last time. I think I'd gotten up to all the trousers being done, and our grey horse over here. So the grey horse has been done. If I can show you, it's grey. It's grey! See? It's grey. So this week I decided to get the final bits of assembly done. So that means that because of the the poly cement, or whatever it's called, precision poly cement, they say you need to have things open, ventilated. So I opened the window. Yes. And opening the window in December is not something that I'm particularly looking forward to. So I thought I'd get these glued now, just so that I don't have to bother kind of assembling them over the winter. I can get them done. So I did that. You'll notice there's a bit more colour on these guys because there's some white. So those are the cross belts done. We also have our white horse. Now there was a slight incident that I noted with this horse. His front left leg is a bit wonky, alas. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because I was pushing him on with the super glue too hard and ended up kind of damaging the leg. But I quite like this. It gives him a bit of character, that here's a kind of slightly lame horse, but he's decided to keep him out of love and loyalty, etc, etc. The horse has been painted with a kind of a light white that's kind of splotchy at a few points. I might have to repaint that. I'll see how that looks, actually, because it might be that he looks kind of like he's a bit dappled at the back, and I quite like that. And Duncan Munro, not Duncan Munro, Duncan Munro's this fellow. Our other fellow has a black horse. I've decided to just go with a black horse and be lazy. But I've given him a little bit of a silver blaze and a white kind of nose. I may have to like touch up some colour into the mane just to make him look less black. Because one of the things I notice is they look more... there are parts of these guys that look more black than those guys, because these guys are all black, so they're obviously unpainted, whereas these guys just haven't been finished. We've got some white on them, as I said, for the crossbelts and the little flank company nests, which I'm not a fan of in terms of the game. I'd rather just not have them, but they're on, and they're on some of the models directly. So you end up with these guys are all the same body, because they're the only ones with the nests on, and I can't be bothered sticking more on. One thing to note, if I pull out the Hanoverian command, one by one, now the heads are going to be slightly different to the ones we've got on the fellows we're painting, but these guys are identical to our painted fellows, basically. I just have to... and the drummer. So, the model-wise, they're identical. They're like a subset. The ones in metal, so the ones from the box, are basically a subset of the 6 that we've got for our other guys, that we got from the actual box of command. So I'll just put everyone back. He's exactly the same model because he has to be the guy without the hat. Otherwise, he's got 2 hats for some reason, which would be weird. But if you look at the British command, we have one of our colour ensigns has a sword, his sword raised, and if you look at our 2 British banner bearers from the 6-pack, no, that's not the case. We have a drummer who's directly playing the drums, and we have a drummer who's got his sticks up to his kind of nose, which I think is kind of like a salute from the drummer. We've got a kind of fairly standard guy pointing it to the right. We've got a guy holding it up and a guy pointing to the left. And then finally we've got the officer who's leading the charge waving people on with his shako, and we don't have a shako waving gentleman in our command. So it looks like the Hanoverian command is just from the box, is just from the pack is just kind of a subset of the 6-man, but the British isn't, and I find that a little kind of why. Seems odd to do the work for the British, but not for the Hanoverian. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're the British, so they want to have more variety. You will notice some other bits of colour over here that, at a distance, look white. It's the flesh colours. So I tried the light and the pale flesh colours. So this gentleman has the light on, and you can't really tell, especially with the fact it's not focusing. Focus! I don't know how to press a button to make it focus. There should be a button to make it focus, isn't there? No. But he just looks like he's got white hands. He doesn't look like he's got any flesh colour to him. Then we've got our pale flesh. Now that looks a little bit better. But at a distance it still looks slightly white, which is a bit frustrating. Then I added a tad bit of brown to the mix, and we end up with this fellow, who I don't think is actually that different. I don't think he's that different. I don't think there's much difference between these two, tone-wise. I then added some red, and then the whole thing became a very bright pink. So we learned our lesson. We're not doing that again. But I tried a bit of adding a bit more brown, and that didn't quite work. So I just used the brown proper, and I've created myself a black soldier. Admittedly, his flesh is now the same colour as his musket barrel, which I'm fairly sure is not accurate. So I'm going to need potentially a new brown. But there weren't a lot of black soldiers from my reading in the British Army. But if a regiment had a major port in its kind of recruitment area, it was more likely to have black soldiers, just because they were coming into the ports, especially ones raised in or around Liverpool. So this regiment is going to be the 8th King's Own, which is one of the very few regiments to be raised from a city, not a county. So I've got plans for, like, I think a Staffordshire regiment and a Cheshire regiment, but the King's Own was the Liverpool regiment, basically. So I think having some black soldiers, I don't know, maybe just the one, maybe a couple of others, would be a good thing. I doubt they'd be officers. I think they'll just be rank and file, because I think that's the case. But I need a new brown, so I need a new brown, and I need a new flesh colour. I'm not going to buy them straight away, because with it being November, there are Black Friday deals. Woo! So there's quite a few different things on Warlord. They have paints. They sell paints as much as well as terrain, which I'm kind of eyeing up, and a few other deals that might affect what the other armies are going to end up having in them, potentially. So I think I'll keep an eye out and wait. They've got their deals last until the 30th, so that's 2 weeks away. So I think the end of next week I might be having a look and making a purchase. So that raises the question of what am I going to do this week? I think prime these guys. That's going to be a couple of jobs to do. And there's a few guys, if you look at them, that look a bit kind of pale because the spray hasn't taken properly. You can see there's a bit of metal still kind of seeming to come through on some of the crew over here, the artillery crew. So I think I'm going to have to paint those, spray those. So a lot of spraying gets done. I think what I'm going to do is potentially do some kind of red on some of the guys back there, and then that also allows me to paint these guys in their reds. And then just kind of work on it bit by bit and slowly work on it on what I'm doing, painting these guys, just because I'm wondering if I should just get to a point where they're all kind of at a similar level. It means it's going to take me longer to be able to do a battle report between these armies. I won't be able to do like these 2 battalions have been finished, I'll do them in a unit. But I think it depends how far we get. because of course, like these two units are not going to be using red. These guys are going to be in blue because they're Royal Artillery, and these guys are Jaegers, and the Jaegers wore green. At least I think that's what the Osprey book seems to say. If we flick to the appropriate page, there we are. It's a dark green and a kind of lighter green for the strap, for the kind of forage cap, instead of the yellow here. So I think they're going to have more green. I do have a decent green somewhere. There it is. Is that, I don't know what that is. Gertz extra dark green. Which I think is probably going to be good for a lot of skirmishes, I suspect. I might have a look at the French. There's a few different colour schemes they have. Like there's the French paint, which is similar to this, but it has a different red. I think it has some different colours. I was actually complaining about these colours, thinking about them. Just they're a really odd combination because it's like buff, I can kind of understand-ish. Oops. Grey you need for the trousers, red you need for the red coats. Dark blue is just for the facings, and they've got like a list of them. There's a dark blue, and then there's the German dark green, which is the one next to it. And they're just for the facings. They're just for the cuffs and the collars, and replace one of those, at least one of those, with a flesh colour, and one of them with a black, and you're all right, because red is a potential facing colour, the buff that they suggest using for the haversacks and the straps for them. So I think I'm not sure I agree with this colour scheme, and I think the French has some overlapping colours and some slightly different colours. It actually has a darker red, so that would give us a shade. I admittedly do not have shades. I don't have highlights, except apparently for these flesh tones that are only for highlights. Why not say these things? Sorry, it's descending into a rant. But yes, these guys have been done, so everything's been assembled now. It's just a matter of painting. If I do need a break from painting, I do still have some of the French up there. In theory, I could potentially start doing start considering what I'm going to do with the French now. But I might wait and see if Warlord comes up with any deals, because then I've got something else to assemble. But I think it'd be better just to get all of these guys done. But if I do start getting burned out on painting and start catching myself, it might be something to split and take a break from by moving to assembling the French. And then once I'm kind of feeling back into painting, I can get on with finishing these guys. Yeah. Still need to think about what regiments I'm doing. Like I want to do the 8th Liverpool. I want to do the 60th Royal. Actually, if I do a Cheshire and a Staffordshire, that's all of them. There we go. I think I've decided. The only thing is the Hanoverians. They only have numbers. They don't have names to their. According to, once again, we delve into the Osprey book. These guys, I don't think, have numbers, title names for their regiments in here. It might just be because it's in here. No, is that? Oh, that's militia regiments, I think. Oh no, these do have regiments. It's based on where they're brought up, apparently. This is really difficult doing this with one hand. I probably shouldn't actually be filming the book. Right. Yeah, uniforms of the Hanoverian. They are just named 1 to 15. So it looks like the other one was 1 to 10, but that might have been a different reorganisation. So, I don't know. So these guys are just numbers, which is kind of sad. I like the idea of having them names. I don't have names for these two yet. I need to give that a thought. I've mainly been thinking about planning ahead and sorting out armies. Partially with the deals that Ward's coming out with. I'm eyeing some of I was actually thinking some of their Crimean units for the Russians we might be able to get away with. I think similarly with the British, it's just they have a deal where it's lots of British infantry, and I'm like, I already have a lot of British infantry. They've got ideas for the Russian infantry, which you can get in the starter set, but you get artillery with them, and Russians were fairly well known for their artillery. So it might be worth having. I might have a look at some of Warlord's Crimean deals actually, especially if it gets me bits of terrain. That's another thing I'm thinking about. I have a battle mat, and that's it at the moment. So I'm eyeing some of their terrain that they've currently got on deals, which, as we see, I need some more colours anyway. So I may be buying from Warlord anyway. I may top things up with some terrain, which actually gives me something else to paint and assemble as well. But that might give me a bit of a break from... that might give me a bit of a break if I need it from various things. Yeah, because I actually tempted to do a big battle after I've got all these guys, which will be, I think, 3 of the British and the cannon versus the Jaegers, the other British, which will probably be the Royal Americans, because they were mostly German settlers, and the Hanoverians, so kind of a German versus English kind of scrap. Well, yes, because they're all of the, well, Cheshire might have some Welsh potentially, and the 8th would be a mishmash of all over the place, I suspect. But yes, so those are various ideas of what's going to happen. I can't remember any of them, so who knows if they'll actually happen. But yes, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.